Thank God when we're talking about LA, it's not about the Lakers, which we do have something to talk about the Lakers later on the show. It's good stuff, though. Paul George, who was having himself a big-time redemption arc story, playing really well, actually a likable person so far this year, was awkwardly hit in the knee in a game on Wednesday and now most likely out for the year. That is rough. He left the arena in crutches. He left the arena on a cart. Shams immediately noted that the franchises had very big concerns that the injury was, quote-unquote, serious. According to the Woj bomb, this is the bomb. This is the sound of the Woj bomb. PG got imaging on his knee. It revealed that he just has a right knee sprain. He will be evaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. That is a relief. That is a big-time relief because a torn something or other, meniscus, ACL, MCL, PCL, would have been a really bad situation. But it still is not a good scenario because that puts PG perilously close to missing the first round of the playoffs, considering that evaluation, if everything goes perfect, requires a week of ramp-up just to start playing again, probably then on a minutes restriction. I'm not saying it's done for good, but the timing on the injury could not have been worse. Clippers currently just trying to stay out of the play-in tournament. That's it. They're currently in 5th place, but they're 2 games out of 10th place. So losing Paul George, we'll say, is not really great. That's how tight the West is. Kawhi is already on load management on back-to-back games. You might have multiple games now with no PG and no Kawhi and just Bones Island. Worst case scenario for a team that I thought could be a sleeper in the West. PG, like I said, having himself a little bit of a redemption year. Playing really well on the court. Averaging 24, 6, and 5, almost 40% from 3, and started a podcast. That's usually you become less likable when you start a podcast. PG actually did the opposite. He leaned into the whole pandemic P thing. He started the podcast called Podcast P. And he's actually been really insightful on there. He had this one clip earlier this week where he talked about how everyone was leaving him open when he first started playing for the Indiana Pacers. And he would just shoot, and his teammates would get so mad at him because he was like, but I'm open, though. And he said, it really sunk in when Danny Granger told me, but why do you think they're leaving you wide open? And I thought that was just such a really likable, endearing story. And he talks about how he went from being one of the worst shooters in the league to being one of the best two-way wings in the league. And, yeah, I've kind of come around. Fun fact, my very first episode of what was first called This League was starting out talking about how much I hated Paul George. How much of a bitch I thought Paul George was. I take it all back, Paul George. I like you now. So the Clips were already 5-5 in their last 10 games, and now they face the Thunder again, who they just lost to when he went down. The Grizzlies twice with Ja. The Suns, probably not with Kevin Durant, but still. The Bulls, who are playing really good basketball with Patrick Beverley. And the Pelicans twice, which I don't even know what you're going to get from that. Because maybe Zion's back. I'm hearing some whispers. Who knows? Then the Lakers. That's a scenario potentially where they might not even make the play-in game if you're talking about worst-case scenarios. Have the Lakers had the most fluky, weird, bad luck that we've seen in terms of injuries since Kawhi got to this place? Ever since Kawhi's got there, things have been weird. I hope the Clippers last long enough for Paul George to play again because I think this team could be really great. They're really deep, but only if he's on the floor. Ballmer, the owner who I don't think likes me very much because he moved away from me when we sat next to each other watching Summer League. He thought he was slick. He wasn't slick, but he moved away from me. I think he's going to need to use some sort of voodoo magic or tarot card reader or spend the money on whatever it's going to do to get the bad juju out of that building and get that franchise uncursed because it's just been one thing after another with this team and it doesn't make no sense.